So in the last video, we revealed the number one rule. It's not about you. How do you then turn your experience into something that isn't just about you? Something that'll sell your skills and experience to the person looking to hire you. Oh, I'm going to say it again. It's not about you. You have to think about what the company needs. Now, you're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear this phrase, it's not about you, a lot, because that is the single most important thing you can change in your mindset when you're doing a job application. Not about you, it's about how you could help the company and they can then pay you for that help. Tailor what you send to sound like what they want. Now, this is important. If they're asking for specific things, using specific words, and you can do those things, you should use those words they're looking for. That'll really make them pay attention. But don't lie about it. If you can't do something, then tailoring your resume to pretend as though you can is going to be noticed. Be very careful. A very common way of writing a resume is to talk about the point, the responsibilities, and the results. That's something that I do recommend as long as you can write it properly. If you just talk about what you did and it's not really relevant to the job, this model doesn't really work. Here's more detail. The point is like the job title or the headline. So for instance, it might be high school tutor or volunteer at XYZ organization. The responsibilities are what you did there. As a high school tutor, I worked with students on math, physics, and science. Okay. The results are then what happened when you did it. Maybe in the tutoring job, you're going to talk a little bit about the grades. That's how a standard resume that I've seen over and over and over again is written. We're going to look at a way to make that really, really stand out so the employer will take notice. And here's a pitfall. Let's say that they want something specific. They say you must have demonstrated client relationship management skills with the ability to meet the needs of individual clients. Now, if you were a high school tutor, for example, or maybe you were a tutor in your post-secondary education, that's actually something you can leverage to help the employer to notice that you have the skills they want. But if you just use the point responsibilities results model and you don't tell them what they're looking for, they're going to not notice that. Here's an example of how not to do it. I worked as a high school tutor. I was responsible for teaching math, physics, and chemistry. My students received consistently high grades. That's good. It's good experience, but it's not going to show them that you can do what they want. Let's try to fix it. So using that same job description, let's see how we can tell them that we know what we're doing. As a high school tutor, I employed client relationship management techniques to ensure that my students and their parents' individual needs were met. Student and parent satisfaction was very positive, and I received excellent feedback from my clients and managers. So I'm still using the same experience. I'm showing the company, using the words they're looking for, that I can do what they want through that experience. That is the key. So it's not the fact that you were a high school tutor that matters. It matters that you were looking at the individual needs of your clients, that you were working with them one-to-one to make sure their needs are met. I like to say something called a repeated beat. Now, the repeated beat in this course is, it's not about you. We talk about it again and again and again. In your job application, you're going to have a cover letter, a resume, an interview, maybe there's going to be a portfolio. All of those things should reinforce what they're looking for is what you have. You want to use the words in the same way across all of your application package. If, for example, you say individual needs are met in the cover letter, you're going to say that again in the resume, and you're going to try to work that into the interview as well. Use the job description to your advantage. Think of it like an ad on a buy and sell site. I know it sounds a bit weird to think about selling your time to a company, but that's really what you're doing. If an ad on a buy and sell site says, I need a car that has red, and you have a car that is red, but you contact them and say, well, I have a car. Where's the red there? It is red. Tell them, because that's what they're looking for. Same thing here. Looking to meet the individual needs of clients, and you've done that, tell them you've done it. That's what's going to make them notice you. But don't lie. A very common question I get is, well, should I make something up and then maybe run off to YouTube and learn as much as I can about it just before the interview so I'll be okay? No. We can tell when you're doing that. As someone who's interviewed a lot of people, it's pretty obvious when the resume and the person don't agree with each other. If you make stuff up A bad case is it comes out in the interview and I don't hire you. Maybe I'll blacklist you because you really lied badly, but that's pretty rare. I'm kind of a nice person with that, other people aren't. But the worst case is I don't notice and it becomes obvious on the job. Then what happens? If it becomes obvious that you lied on your resume and the job, then you're probably going to be fired. So don't lie. Use your experience that you do have. Here's an activity. I want you to go and look for a job description on the internet. Pick one you think you can do, maybe a little bit beyond your reach. Extract the keywords from that job description and see the ones that align the best with what you can do. The keywords are things that either are industry standard words or things like individual needs, things that they're clearly looking for someone who can handle that. And then for each of those, write a point, responsibilities, results paragraph for each one that shows how your experience can give them what they need. That can form the basis of your cover letter and your resume and something to think about if you go into the interview. So go ahead and get started on that.